Welcome to the Pickleball Recovery Podcast, where we highlight products and practices to help you feel better faster, so you can spend less time stiff, sore, and injured, and more time on the court doing what you love. This podcast is sponsored by Zamst. Zamst reinforces and protects athletes by providing premium technical products in the form of athletic braces and supports derived from innovative materials, designs, and manufacturing processes for the ankle, knee, elbow, and more. Find out more about these high-quality products built to prevent injury, improve performance, and ultimately help you spend more time on the court at www.zamst.us. And use the code PBR to save 15%. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Pickleball Recovery. I'm your host, Tim Ringgold. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see, a couple of things to share. I want to tell you that I interviewed the guys over at Go Sleeves a while back in April, and they sent me some sleeves. Like I had tried their knee sleeve out, and then they sent me their calf sleeves, and you guys, they're so good. And one of the things that Dr. Ethan Kreisworth said in the interview was, you wear the sleeve while you're playing, but then you leave the sleeve on afterwards for a couple of hours, and it increases your recovery. My lower legs have never felt better. They're so good. Oh my God. So that was a really pro tip. And also want to shout out the guys from Zamst, the bracing guys who are the sponsors of this podcast. If you haven't tried any of their stuff, you should. I like one of their knee braces. I'll use it occasionally if I need it. And then they have this ankle brace that is so cool. Like, one of the cool things about Zamst is that their stuff, their bracing is based on severity or like stability. So like, you go onto their website, they ask you what joint do you need help with, and then what level of support do you need, like light, medium, or heavyweight. And they've got a product for each of those. So like, if your ankles are mostly good and you just need a little bit of support, they've got a really, really cool neoprene brace just for that. If you need moderate support or heavy support, they've got stronger braces as well. I know my buddy Dane Gingrich wears the heavyweight ones on his ankles, but I used their lightweight one for a period of time when my left ankle was giving me some grief. And I had ordered one, and I can't remember if I told this story. I'm having a senior moment if I told you guys this story. I ordered a similar version of this on like, I don't know, some website. I saw an ad for it on Instagram, and it was crap. Crap compared to the one that Zamst sent me. So I'm just taking a second here to give my sponsor a shout out and some love, because their stuff is really high quality. And if you haven't gone and checked it out or bought any, do so. Really, really, really good stuff, particularly ankle, knee, and elbow. Oh, and yeah, their elbow, I sampled their elbow one, that thing. Okay, so I love my buddies at Pro Band, but one of the things with Pro Band was I would sweat and it would slide off. This Zamst one, like totally sweat proof. Like, it did not move on my arm the whole session. Okay, that's enough about that. So today's kind of fun, because today's like one of those episodes where you hear about something from a different guest, and it kind of like puts a seed in your head, and you just kind of forget about it. And then somewhere along the line, boop, that seed, matures, if you will. And so this is kind of one of those culmination things, because in one of my many conversations when I was going down to San Diego and working with the guys at Stretch Effect, they would tell me about this Titleist Performance Institute down in Carlsbad. And I was like, that sounds cool, but I'm not going. It's too far. I already come down to see your dumb asses. So I never went. Lo and behold, I run into a guy on the court at my local court here in Southern California. We become friends. And then come to find out, he builds a TPI institute, or like a TPI studio at our club. And I'm like, what? So one day I walked in and I checked it out, and I was like, no way, this is awesome. And as I was looking at it, I was like, dude, we got to do an episode on this, because when you're an athlete, now I know some pickleballers, actually, frankly, most pickleballers don't need to consider and don't consider themselves athletes. That's what makes pickle so approachable. But if you're listening to this and me, you're probably an athlete because you care about how your body performs. The things that help an athlete's body perform are not restricted to the sport the athlete plays. So there are, the way your body moves is the way your body moves. If you play a rotational sport of any kind, then your body needs to move very similar ways. So I didn't realize how much golf and pickleball had in common until me and today's guest, Michael McClean, started talking. It blew me away. So you're going to watch today's difference. So if you're listening to this on Audible or Spotify or Apple, you have to go over to YouTube and watch this episode, because otherwise I don't know how much of this is going to make sense audio only, to be perfectly honest with you. So go over to YouTube and watch. It'll just make more sense. And if you can't, I understand. I try to narrate the best I can. I was thinking about you while we were doing the episode, but I'll be honest, I was really thinking about the ways in which I could get you over to YouTube, and just so you could see what we were doing. It just makes more sense. Some podcasts make more sense to be seen than heard, or some episodes, and this is one of them. So go over there if you can, because Michael actually walks me through an assessment using TPI's software, and sure enough, like the things that this assessment tool showed that I have problems with are things that are directly relatable to the problems I'm having with my drives, specifically right now, with driving the ball, hitting thirds and hitting serves. I've been really they've been like this pain in my ass, for the lack of a better phrase, because I don't come from tennis, and I played golf and I played tennis, but those weren't my main sports. Soccer was my main sport, which is not a rotational sport. And you've heard that before if you've been around for a while, hearing my story. So really, really cool stuff. And particularly if you're in Orange County, you're going to definitely want to check out Michael's stuff. But even if you're not, I kind of was having this conversation with him afterwards, like 85 to 90% of what he can do to help and to diagnose what's going on with you, he can do right over a Zoom screen. So, it's never been cooler. I mean, I never would have thought that I would live in an age where you could use Zoom or FaceTime for like personal training sessions. But yet Jill Martin, from episode, whenever Jill's episode was, I don't know, it was in the wintertime, maybe it was December. I know she's working with Altaf Merchant. I'm sorry, Altaf. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. They're working over a screen. She's here in California. He's not. And you'll hear in the episode, my former vocal coach moved from here to England, and I worked with her over a screen. And it was like, this is really cool. So even if you're not here in Orange County, you'd benefit from learning about this because this is what's so cool. After we shot the video and I got the assessment, it prescribed a workout schedule. And it asked me, how many minutes do I have? It's like they could give you 15 minutes worth of work, 35, 40, or 30, 45, or an hour's worth of work. I was like, okay, give me a half hour. And it prescribed 29 minutes and 28 seconds worth of workouts that are now sitting in an app that in the morning, I can literally just open the app and I will watch and model these body weight exercises that are going to unlock my mobility to be able to have, a cannon for a drive that doesn't wear me out. So super, super cool. I'm super excited for you to learn more about this. And just remember, like, cross training is, it's a thing for a reason. Let me leave it there. So sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, and I'll see you on the other side. Michael McClean, welcome to Pickleball Recovery.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great. This is super fun. Here we are. We're at Los Cab in Fountain Valley, California, which we're both members at. And I think we met before here technically, but we have spent many of the time on the court here together, having a lot of fun playing pickleball. And I remember you were telling me along the way, I'm going to be building out this super cool studio. I play pickleball, but one of my passions is golf, and the studio is going to be super neat and state of the art. And I was all excited for you to hear about birthing that process as a fellow entrepreneur. And here we are. We're inside. And the name of this studio is?
Athletes First Academy.
Athletes First Academy.
Absolutely.
And for those who don't know, there's a 12-foot by 6-foot banner staring at me right now. It's so big, and I didn't even look up. And it's like, where are we?
Bam.
There it is. Yes. Let me read from left to right. Athletes First Academy. Yes. So, but I first heard about TPI from my trainer, Kyle Valerie in San Diego. And he's like, you got to get into a TPI facility. And I think there's one down there in North County, right? Like
Correct. Carlsbad.
Carlsbad, yeah. And he's like, we had one of our athletes there who plays for the New York Yankees. I can't remember his name. We had him go over there. And it was really interesting because in my head, he said TPI, which is short for
Titleist Performance Institute.
Right. Now, as someone who grew up playing golf, Titleist, like right away I'm thinking golf. He goes, yeah, we had our baseball player go over to TPI.
Right.
And I thought, is he working on his hobby? You know, I didn't get it. Right. And then I met you, and you were like, I have a TPI facility now here in Orange County, and I can help golfers, of course, but I can also help any athlete because of what I've learned through this. And it got me super interested because of this idea of, like, physical therapists typically work with all kinds of athletes, you know? And so it's like there are principles of athleticism, I'll use that word, mobility, strength, power, that transcend the sport itself. And you can train sport-specific things, but there are some things that help everybody play their sport better.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I think that's kind of like what we want to kind of nerd out on today is you as a golf pro and as a pickleball player, you're in this intersection between the two.
Right.
And so let's talk about how we can use a tool like this to help us move better, because we both know if we move better, we play better.
Absolutely.
How did you get into what was the genesis of building this bad boy?
Yeah. Basically, I grew up playing sports my whole life. You know, I mean, I was lucky that I had support to play whatever I wanted. It was baseball, it was football, it was tennis, it was basketball. And so as I played all these games, I developed and really, really was competitive in each one to get to be the best I could at each sport. And so that carried me into a really great athletic career. I got to play 3 sports in college and picked up golf as just an elective, right? So golf was the last sport I picked up. But luckily, I played all these other rotational sports, like throwing a baseball or throwing a football. I happened to be decent at those games. And then tennis, obviously 4 years of varsity tennis and playing in college. And you know, there's, again, rotational movement, using the ground as force. And so picking up golf as an elective at Saddleback College was like easy. It was like I was meant to play the game. Ended up breaking 80 and 70 without a golf lesson. And I was like, all right, I'm 5'10". I'm not going to be a basketball pro.
Right.
Tennis is just, I was burnt at that point.
Yeah.
I was so burnt.
Like so many.
So many. And it was like, here it is. Like, thank you, God. Like, this is it. You know, and I went at it hard, and I ended up playing a couple years and thought I was really good, and thought I was like, I'm going to go pro now that I figured this game out, you know. Wasn't the best decision, but again, like, these are great decisions in life, so that you look back and be like, you know what, I went for it. And the beauty of it was I learned really that I could teach the game better than I could play the game, which was pretty good because I was a decent player. And so then I was like, started teaching golf, started working at country clubs, La Costa and Mission Viejo Country Club, and all these other facilities to just learn the game and learn the inside of the business, and obviously kept getting closer and closer to what I really wanted, was my passion, was to train athletes to be the best that they could be. And so I coached college golf for 8 years, got with Titleist in 2013, and really started to learn about biomechanics. Really started to see about the movement, functional movement, and took a team that had never done anything like that and took them to a national championship. A tiny little school with 800 players. We were competing against UCLA, and we were really, really good because of applying this program.
Wow.
And so physically, we had an edge over of some of these big schools who weren't doing it. And so that just carried me over into the junior program that I've started in Long Beach, and I've got 4-year-olds to 16-year-olds and love developing them. And that's sent the Athletes First Academy. It's like, look, we're going to teach you to throw, we're going to teach you to run, we're going to teach you to sprint, we're going to teach you to jump. So no matter what you choose later in life, you're going to be an athlete and you're going to enjoy it, and it's going to be your choice.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Couple of comments I have to say is like, bow down. You played 3 sports in college.
Right.
That's not common, ladies and gentlemen. In case you didn't know, by college, we're usually required, frankly, to focus on one. And if you're lucky to play one, you're lucky enough. Because you're at the, for most of us, the pinnacle of that sport, because from there, the fraction that can actually play professionally, like you said, is minimal. 2, you went for it, so you'll never wonder. Right? Like, I think that's such an important thing for people. If you're wondering, do the thing. Yeah. And if your kid's wondering, your kid needs to do the thing and find out for themselves, because once they have that lived experience and that data, they don't have to wonder anymore. They either know they're in the right place, or they've learned that isn't the right place, and they know that for themselves now, and then that won't live rent-free in their head forever, which it does for a lot of people. Yeah. So I love that you did that. And then the third thing is that you learned and figured out that you could coach as well as, or better in your words, than you could play, because there's a lot of people who are on the inverse of that. They perform a skill very well, but that doesn't translate into teaching the skill very well. And in our world, that is a classic management blunder across all industries and all sports, is that we look at high performers and we think they'll make great trainers and they'll make great coaches. And that's not guaranteed at all. And in my world prior to pickleball was soccer. And in soccer, it's absolutely not a guarantee that if you're a great player, you're a great coach. Some of the greatest coaches were average. They're good, but they were average. They weren't the GOATs. So that's really, really interesting. In my clinical world as a music therapist, I'm better at talking about music therapy than doing music therapy. And my career has evolved to become a speaker and an expert on music therapy. And I spend more time talking about it than practicing it, because there are plenty of good music therapists who can practice it, but there are not plenty of music therapists who are good at talking about it. So I'm an advocate and an ambassador for my field by, using my voice rather than my hands. So I get it. That's super cool. Titleist, like, small brand. Who are they?
They made a few golf balls.
I think I've seen their golf balls in the woods before.
Right.
And TPI is this concept of, and you use this phrase, which is biomechanics, right? How we move, right? Let's talk a little about that, because as an athlete, like, I love, like, when people ask me, what are you? I'm an athlete and I'm an artist. Right. Those are the 2 words that I identify as. Like, I'm an athlete who currently plays pickleball.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. But I'm an athlete first and foremost. Sure. And you can see athletes out on the court.
Yes.
Right. You notice it. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Their body moves in lots of directions well. Yeah. Not just a ground stroke.
It's funny, when we first started playing, the few comments you made about my game weren't about a shot or a result or anything like that. It was about my footwork.
Yep.
And I was like, interesting. Most people don't pick up on that. What it takes to be prepared to hit a shot comes from being an athlete, right? It's
yes.
Just the predicting where you need to be, or preparing yourself to be in position to even hit a shot. So, yeah.
Yeah, the athlete radar.
Athlete sees athlete.
That's it. The athlete in me sees the athlete in you. Athlete a stay. That's a new word. I just made it up here. You're welcome. Go grab athletestay.com. No one will visit. It's not that funny. But the point is, that there's this underground or background, this almost like a foundation of movement. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is what are these kind of foundational things that will, people will move better, they'll play better. And if they're willing to invest the time in that, they're probably also not going to be as stiff, sore, and injured.
True. Recovery.
recovery,
Big deal.
kind of the point of this whole thing, right? Like the 24-year-old isn't going to listen because they're like, I'm invincible. And I remember I was at 24, I would go out all night. I would get up the next day. I wouldn't get up because I wouldn't go to bed. I'd just go right to work the next day. And I'll never forget one of my bosses laughing. She's like, to be young. I remember when I could do that. She was like 40. She wasn't even, fit north of 50 yet. And she was already, that was in the rearview mirror. So we have this like super cool facility that we're kind of sitting in front of. What are we looking at right now? And kind of talk us through it.
Great. Yeah. So basically, whenever I have a client come in, my number one thing I'll do is I'll put them through a physical assessment.
Okay.
I need to know, before I've even seen you hit a golf ball, what your capabilities are as far as range of motion. Topping from cervical all the way down to your ankle mobility. So I need to know that way when I'm trying to teach you, if I'm going to try to ask you to disassociate upper and lower body, if you can even do it or not. Otherwise, we're wasting our time. And on the flip side is I want to know how I can improve you, because I can only do so much with what you have right now. But if you're in conjunction with our lessons and you're getting more mobility and you're getting strength, we can start to see club head speed. We can start to work with data, and this has all become a science. I'm not guessing. I'm not doing theory anymore. It's an absolute fact.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do. We come in here right away. We go through the assessment process, which we're going to go through in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then as I go through your swing, and I've got loads and data, and I've got high-speed video and infrared. And so like we really have the top of the technology as far as it goes to be able to assess your golf swing, and then to try to predict what we can do to improve on that in the future while putting a Band-Aid on what you have right now.
Got it. Now, how does that translate to the pickleball player? Like, let's say there's somebody here at Los Cab who wants to move better. They see you have this facility and you say, I'm going to put a golf club in your hand.
Right.
And they're like, how about that paddle over there? Can you just put the paddles? Tell me how have you, given your passion for both, what have you already seen as like the nexus point between them?
Yeah, and this is what I've started to do is I had some of the pros that came in here.
Tell that story.
Tyson McGuffin and
who's that?
Thomas Wilson, right? Thomas Wilson and Federico Strackstrud. He's a decent singles player.
Decent.
I had them come in, and my first allure was to like, hey, do you guys play golf? Do you want to hit a few balls? Come in here and lounge around. Then it became more of like looking at how they apply their movement to what we do with our movement, and say like, okay, well, if you are a rotational sport player, this applies. So like you said, a lot of the Dodgers, a lot of the Braves are going down and working because the most similar motion to the golf swing is actually the throwing motion. It's a rotational movement. It's a changing the weight shift. It's a clearing of the hips out. And the same thing with that would be for tennis and pickleball. It's the same thing as far as like planting and transferring your weight, rotating and clearing out your lower body, and the last thing that goes is your hands. So that spiral from the ground up using the ground force and unwinding all that kinetic energy translate into getting the most power and to being most efficient with what you have. And so that's just how it correlates.
And let me just describe to you all why this matters, because I come from soccer, which is not a rotational sport. And when I came to pickle, I have had an ongoing shoulder issue and ongoing back issues because I don't have that neuromuscular coordination, that the unwinding, as you said, power from the ground. These phrases you're using, I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. Like this is all Greek to me because I'm just so used to a completely different movement set. And so what happens, like I love to drop and I love to dink. I love the chess. But then I taught myself singles, and then I hired Matthias Johansson as my coach to teach me singles so I could go out and become a senior pro, which I did. But I struggled because I was swinging with my arm and not with my body. And so I would blow out my bicep tendon, and I've had this persistent bicep tendonitis from day one because I'm just doing all of this and I'm trying to generate all that power and that force from this hinge. And I'm missing out on this much bigger piece of machinery that can be doing it for me. And it was so funny because every once in a while in a lesson, Matthias would say something, and this is why coaches and instructors can be so valuable. Every once in a while, he would use a phrase or say something, and my brain would make the connection, and then the other part of my body would move, and I would hit a forehand ground stroke with very little effort, much faster, with dip. But the most important thing to me was the amount of exerted force was a fraction of my way.
Right.
And my way over 2 hours blows out my shoulder.
Right.
Right. His way
Yeah.
over 2 hours, no blown out shoulders. But we weren't, because he's very much a stroke, he was working on the stroke. We weren't getting underneath all of that. And when I worked with Kyle down in San Diego, who you guys, by the way, past episodes of Tyson, past episodes of Kyle Valerie, all in the episode catalog, go look them up. He was like, I was like, I need more strength, I need more flexibility, and he just shook his head. He's just like, you need mobility, and I was like, what's that?
Right.
And he's like, your back doesn't rotate at all. It never had to. It doesn't know how. And frankly, it's just locked up. So we're going to go to work on that. And then your stroke's going to kind of take care of itself, because you'll be able to do the things you're thinking and trying to do more effectively.
So kinematic sequence.
Kinematic sequence.
What we talk about is
That's sexy.
No matter what swing you see on the pro tour, and it's probably the similar with
Bring your
pickleball.
mic up closer.
Yeah, you got you.
Thank you. There we go.
When you look at all the different swings and all the personalities on the pro golf tour,
Yeah.
you'll see different mechanics, but the same thing that is true with all of them is that kinematic sequence. And what that basically means is it's the order starting down from the top, and that means that the lower body is going to clear out first.
Clear out.
And then the shoulders are going to go next. And then the arms are going to go next. And the last thing to go is like cracking a whip, right?
Right.
I'm holding, and then
Snap.
And it's the littlest
Yes.
thing in your body, right? As far as muscle or power, but yet it creates that lag and that snap, like you said. And so the same thing with pickleball, where hips, arms, shoulders, the last thing to go, whoosh, and so it
And you
applies.
rip it. Yeah.
And that's that ground force. That's that rotational movement that you're talking about.
That's really interesting. And I, since I discovered pickleball, it's not that I quit golf. I just stopped playing.
Yeah.
Because I found all these people to play pickleball with. But I remember, those moments where that snap was just right. And that ball would just ping, just launch. Right. And you're like, whoa, I just flew the green. Damn it. But that felt great.
Right.
And you're just like, wow, I got the kinematic sequence right.
Bingo.
Yes, I'm all excited. I get hot and heavy about new phrases that are like, what do we? Hey, Jill Martin, posterior chain. That's for you. That was one day that we were like, ooh, I haven't used that in a sentence before.
Yeah.
So I just like to impress my friends.
And so we want everyone that comes through, basically an assessment, to find out what's the most efficient movement for your body. So in the past, people would teach a theory as to like, okay, well, Tiger does it this way. Let's all try to do it this way. Not everybody's built like that.
Well, and that's interesting you just said it, because the first thing I just thought was Tiger had to rebuild his swing several times based on his body changing.
Correct.
So that's really that's spot on, right? He couldn't do what he used to do at some point. And
and he trained the old-fashioned way with heavy weights, bench pressing 300 pounds.
Yes.
And just wondered why his back was just compressing and he wasn't, he wasn't limber. And that's what's going to happen. The game is hard enough on your back as it is.
Right.
To not train with more mobility.
Yes. Right. And, when I was young, I cared about beach muscles.
Right.
Now I drive, I spent 10 years driving a minivan. So I'm so off the market. You know what I mean? Like beach muscles, what are those, Right. So now mobility is the new strength for me. Like it's sexy now to me to be able to move well. And I want to be someone who doesn't just look young on the court. I want to move young. And I remember somebody using that phrase, I want to move young. And I was like, F yeah. That's exactly what's relevant now.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm not,
I want to roll out of bed pain-free.
And I'm not like, the concession stand is
right there.
That way. It's right over there.
Not that guy.
Nobody cares. No, 10 years of a minivan. I used to joke that they took the cool guy card out of my pocket when they gave me the keys to the minivan, because they're like, you won't be needing that anymore, bro. Here you go, pal. Have fun. So anyhow, what do you want to do next?
So let's go through an assessment with you, and we'll go through all your biomechanics.
Okay.
And it'll spit out an AI type program, which will give you specific exercises. And like I said, I've never seen you swing a golf club.
Yep.
But it'll also tell me basically what they used to say faults in you would have in your golf swing. Now they say characteristics.
Ah,
right?
Yeah.
Because it is. It's based off your body type. It's not it's not your fault that you're built the way you are, or that you. But what would they are? Like, it's a characteristic. So it could be over the top or hang back. So all these things hinder your being the most efficient self.
Yes.
And so we'll get into that and showing you where you're at for some of these. And then after that, it writes out a prescription for you as to what you would need to do to, let's say, open up from 45 to 60 degrees rotation in your shoulders or your pelvic tilt, or interior, exterior rotation. All these little things it's going to go through. And it's very quick, too. It doesn't take very long.
That's really cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Right on.
Okay, so we're going to pause, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. Actually, you already heard from them, so hold it. All right, and we're back. So we've kind of changed gears here, and we're going to kind of walk me through this assessment. So kind of talk to us about what's happening.
All right, so physical assessment. So someone comes in, and the first thing I'm going to look for, obviously, male, female, righty, lefty.
Okay.
And we'll begin the screen. And here's a few. So for those of you that may not know much about golf, there's set up postures. The first one, typically it starts with what you would think is a 5-iron. If you don't know what that is or what it feels like, we can just grab one and just kind of give you that idea. Okay, here's a 5-iron. If you were going to hold it, right? Posture's kind of a big deal in all sports and in life in general. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to take this out and I'm going to have him cross his arms. Okay. And so what I'm going to be looking for as they're right down the line here is I see there's just kind of a curvature in his back, right? There's either a flat back, or you can see this is a letter S, or it could be like as we get older, it could be like a letter C.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, we got C posture and S posture, two things that we talk about. And actually a lot in my Pilates class, we talk a lot about it too. So he's going to go ahead and I'll click on S posture for him. And already that's starting to kind of give me an idea of what's going to start to happen in any kind of a sport, that if he has a tilt in his or a curve in his posture, he's probably going to have a hard time maintaining that posture throughout whatever sport it is.
Got it.
Okay. And so as we'll go to the next one, the pelvic has a couple different movements that it can do. It can do a rotation and it can do a tilt. Like if it's a bucket of water, empty the bucket. So right now, I'm going to put you right back in your posture like you were sideways. And I'm going to have you do what's called, like, for if you were to imagine, so go to extreme like S posture where you stick your butt out and then tuck it in to go to what your C posture is.
Okay.
So S to C, and I'm going to look at the mobility in that area.
Okay.
Okay.
So
and we're going
to,
that's an S now, tuck into C. And already I see a little shake and bake, what we say right here in that area. So there's a little tightness in that area. That's fine.
Yep.
Okay, so he can do the movement. Okay, and so we'll go. We see a pass actually passes for that, and he can arch in both directions.
Okay.
And then, but we did see some a little vibration, shake and bake. That's a thing, right? It's not just Ricky Bobby,
and not just pickleball.
right? Oh yeah,
That's
there
hilarious.
You go. All right. And then the next one's going to be a pelvic rotation. So I'm going to look for, if he had a belt on, I just want to see the belt rotating and keeping the disassociation of what I say with upper and lower body.
Yeah.
So can we rotate and rotate?
So I'm kind of trying to keep my shoulders still.
Absolutely.
There.
And if he has a trouble with that, I can help him, because again, we're looking for mobility versus stability problems. I can help solve mobility problems. And obviously you can see great rotational movement in that as far as pelvic rotation. So that's a pass.
Okay.
And this next one is going to be the complete opposite. It's going to be keeping the lower body still and only moving the upper body. So it's just.
So now this one, that's interesting.
Right. And this one is it's a qualitative, not a quantitative test.
Okay.
So I'm not looking to see how much you can do, just that you can independently disassociate, again, upper and lower body.
Okay.
All right. And that's a pass. And the next one is a deep squat.
All right.
Something in America we have a real hard problem with.
Indeed.
Because we sit a lot.
We do.
So this motion, again, his hand's going to be up overhead.
Oh, interesting.
I'm going to have your feet parallel.
Yep.
Right. And then you're going to basically drop your butt down below your knees.
Okay.
And hopefully the
I've
hands
never
will
done
not.
it with my hands up. That's
so they're going to look for, and you can see the hands actually move forward there. Now try that again.
Yeah, I can't keep them up.
That's fine.
Yep.
That's fine.
And the goal is how far down can I go while keeping them up?
Below your knees. So Yep.
Oh, my back. Wow.
And so we were
Super
identifying quite a bit there as far as like
really
shoulder and scapula. And so that's going to tie in quite a bit. So we're going to edit this. So he does a full deep squat, arms down during the deep squat. And the weight in his feet was evenly distributed.
Okay.
So that is through that assessment portion. The next one's going to be a toe touch with the feet together and the legs still. So you're going to just lean over and see how far we can go. And he is just there. Incredible. Look at this. So he passes the toe touch.
All right.
This one's going to be a shoulder scapular area mobility test. So we're going to go to what's a 90-degree angle. We're going to fold to a 90-degree angle. You're going to rotate as far as you can go back. And I'm looking to basically go off of his spine angle. So he is just a little bit past the spine angle. Okay. And then we'll do the other side. You're going to fold. Right. That one's a lot for the mobility. So definitely both shoulders. And then the last thing we'll do on this one is we're going to test it and see it in your athletic pose. I won't say golf posture because this is an athletic pose.
Yeah,
Any sport, right?
Ready position.
It's, soccer, whatever, surfing, skate, whatever it is. So you're in that pose, and you're going to see, am I able to have the same mobility in that pose?
Okay.
And we'll see if it's same or less, which is the same there. You can tell this guy's done some work. That one looked really close.
Feels like a wall. I just hit it.
That one. And we'll edit this. So we're going to go. And that was your left.
Left was a little.
Your right was greater than spine. Your was same or greater. The left side was greater than spine, and then it was a little bit less standing.
There you go.
Save. This is single leg balance. So this is gonna test proprioception. Another fun one for you.
Yep.
And so what you'll do is to do a test first. You're gonna stand and get your balance with just your eyes open, and you're gonna hold 1 foot below. And then after you get your balance set there, then I'm gonna have you close your eyes.
Okay.
To get yourself balanced with your eyes open first, and then get your balance. And once you have your eyes, then you can close your eyes, and then we'll time you.
And we're over.
And 11 seconds there. It's actually really good.
We were working.
And then the other side.
Good.
And you're feeling it down there.
Yeah,
that's why that's that proprioception. There's little stabilizers in your body. Okay. Pass all the way through.
There we go.
Beautiful. Really impressive.
Oh, thanks.
So we on the right. That second one was your left or your right?
Second one, I was on my left foot.
Okay, so this one was greater than 15. This one was looks like 11 to 15. So very close on both sides.
And that makes sense to me because my right leg, I would say, I'm left-footed, and my right leg, I notice in pickleball, is definitely just deficient all around strength, stability. Like anytime I'm doing exercises, if I'm going to dink to my right, I don't get down half as far as I'm dinking to my left. So I love playing the left because I can any ball. I can launch to that ball. I can get there early.
Right.
I can be there. But if you dink to my right, I'm up here.
Right.
I'm like and I'm dumping balls in the net because I don't have that same.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so we're going to go to
the left.
This is a lat test. So we're going to go against a wall.
Okay.
I don't have many here.
That's all right.
We
can use this one.
We'll
we just move these guys
right here. There you go. Do a little reconstruction. And basically, all you're going to do for this test, this is fine. You're going to try to hold this dowel right here against the small of your back.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then from here, you're going to put your thumbs out and raise up overhead, and you need to be holding on to that.
Look at you.
Right
you
there.
can do that.
Yeah.
For those of you that's off camera, Michael could actually lift his arms all the way up. So for those of you who won't be able to see this, I'm basically against the wall. This is going to be against my lower back. I'm kind of seeing my pushing my low back out. Then I'm going to try to lift my arms up over my head and touch the wall at the same time.
Do you want me to turn the camera over there?
No, it's okay. So this won't take long because it's not going to happen.
So the first trick is some people can't even hold this. So good on you for that part. And then raise it over. And look at that.
Look at that. He did it.
Surprising.
Wow.
Surprised himself.
Wow.
Good job. So that's a pass. And that is called the lat test. All right. And the next one, this one's complicated here because we're going to be testing hip internal and external rotation on each side. So that's 4 tests, right?
Okay.
So we're going to go up against something that I know, which is a 45-degree angle. Well, I'm pretty sure. And that's this.
Angle.
90 degree.
Yep.
Here to here. So I'm going to have you test both. I'm going to have you go one direction twice.
Sure.
So the first way you're going to go is you're going to basically lift up. You're going to rotate. Boom, boom.
See if I can go all the way out to 90.
Boom, boom.
Okay.
And then you're going to do the other leg. And again, line up that pelvic right on the line. So I'm going to rotate. Boom, 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 boom. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to put this foot here, and then this, I'm going up and I'm opening the gate.
Right. Boom. Beautiful.
Like and then this.
And then the other down. Then the other leg comes out exactly.
Okay. But I'm weight bearing on my right. Right. I'm leaning on my right. Right. In order, because I'm picking this one up.
Yes.
And now I'm bringing this one
internally. That's
as
good.
far as I can.
That's good. So good. Big rotation.
Cool.
And then you're going to test the other way.
Okay.
So you're going to test everything going to, this would be like in the golf swing or downswing.
Right. Okay. So let's see. Oh, I opened that one. So I'm going to open this one.
There you go.
So here, slide to your right. That way. Slide to your right so they can see this on camera.
Oh, yeah.
So now this one, I'm opening the gate like that.
Right. I'm going to slide you back a little bit on this so I can, you're clearly passing, but I'll have maybe back a little bit further.
Okay.
So we line up on this corner.
Okay.
And then give me.
Oh, gotcha. So
there you
this
go.
one's going to go.
Perfect.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yep.
Oh, hold on. Balance. See that right leg, the balance is not the same.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then
the
I'm going to bring
leg.
it across. Oh, wait.
The opposite leg going the same direction. Yep. So.
Oh, balance.
Good. Wow. Very nice.
Thank you, Kyle.
Very good, Kyle.
Shout out to Kyle.
So.
And Dr. Nick, everybody over at Stretch Effect. We just did an episode with those guys. The last episode was with.
Oh, nice.
With them. So much love.
And the next one is going to be a lower quarter test. I'm going to bring over a chair.
Okay.
And move this real quick, like. Okay. And then this one I'm going to test what kind of rotational. Right. You're going to sit on the edge of this.
All right.
Right. And they're just going to put this back here. I'm going to see.
Okay.
Ooh, that was a good back crack.
That was nice.
Right. We're going to
look for everybody.
We're going to look.
I like to poke fun at myself. So this one, it'll be like,
feet together.
I'm going to do it. And then you'll be like, okay, go ahead and start.
Right. And then
so
put this up a little bit higher. There we go. And then just rotate. We're looking for. Okay. Yep.
That's all you got.
So, and the other side. Wow. Okay.
That's what you get.
Okay. So we are going to edit on the seated trunk. And what we're looking for is equal or greater than 45 degrees, right?
Okay.
And we're going to say pretty much close to.
I would say less than.
I would definitely say less on both sides.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, that mid-thoracic mobility that's the one I was joking about where they'd be like, okay, go ahead and turn.
Yeah.
Now go ahead and turn.
And then while we're even here real quick,
yeah.
I already just showed you do that. I'm going to have you sit on the ball here.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to blow your mind real quick here with one of these. So go back to where you're doing your rotation and go to where you get stopped on either side. Now I'm going to have you do a side bend here. So you're going to side bend this way.
Okay.
Come back up and rotate further.
What?
And then I'm going to have you side bend, come back up and rotate further.
What?
And I'm going to have you dip, come back up and rotate further. Like,
yeah.
Okay. And now do the other side.
Okay.
Right?
Did you see that? You saw that.
So yeah, the people on the board are very efficient at what they do.
Okay.
And
side bend.
Mobility, right?
Back.
Yep.
Stop it.
I'm not going to stop it. You're going to keep going. And it's like, wait a minute, why didn't we do this before we did the test?
What?
There.
Wow.
Boom.
You saw it here first, folks. And that's for those of you listening on, I can't believe if you're listening to this still and you're not watching this on YouTube because this must sound very weird as a podcast episode. That's why I have a YouTube channel for you. But we just opened up.
Like 20, 30 degrees, easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Like that.
Like that.
Shows you that, yeah, it's
amazing.
there. It's there. It's a lot of it is connecting the neuromuscular connections.
Yeah.
These are motions you've done before, but for whatever life has gotten us to, or injuries have plagued us. And so, yeah, that's what this program's all about, is how to tap into movement that you've already done, right? And do it efficiently. So the next one's called a bridge with the leg extension. This is going to test core, which is, they call them the kings and the queens, which is the abs and the buttocks, right? Take your pick as to which one's the king or the queen.
All right, so
Okay.
we're down.
So we're going to go to what you call like a fish hook position. So the feet are going to go as close to your bottom as they can. Good. You're going to have your hands out. You're going to raise your pelvic up off the ground. And then I'm going to have you extend one leg out. And we're going to hold it right about here.
Okay.
And this is a test that takes about 25 seconds. We'll know pretty soon whether it's a piece of cake for you, which it does look like that is.
Work your glutes, people.
Yep. The combination of glute and ab.
Yeah.
Gluten.
This is a good one. It's funny, my daughter wanted to do glute bridges at the gym with like the 45-pound on
Oh,
hips.
right.
I was like, babe, one-legged glute bridge, hold it for 60 seconds. She was terrified of the
You could
thought.
switch.
And I was like, that's my
Other
point.
side.
That's
Yep.
my point. You can do a lot of really good body work
Yes.
or body weight work
Right.
in your bedroom, on the floor, in the hotel room, or between the two queen beds.
Beautiful.
Guys, this is stuff I do every morning while I'm brushing my teeth. I'm on my back for 2 minutes.
It's
in the
a piece of
morning,
cake.
2 minutes at night, and you get this solid
Calf.
foundation. Yeah.
Come on in.
Thank you.
You got it.
Ooh.
Okay, so the next few are pretty basic. It's going to be cervical rotation. We're going to look at basically rotate, turn, and touch shoulder, chin to shoulder. And then on the opposite side, touch and shoulder, calves. And the next three are going to be deal with forearms and wrists. So we're going to put your palms out. And we're going to go thumbs out. And then thumbs pointing down. Good. And now we're going to look for internal, external rotation of the hip, of the wrist.
Yeah. I actually don't have a lot of rotation in my wrists. My wrists are really stiff.
Right.
Always have been. Like
But
when you
they're
do
good.
this thing, like
Oh yeah, that's a
as far
good
as
one.
I get.
Tom House. He's got a good one with pushing, pressing together.
oh,
on this.
it's brutal.
Oh my
when you
gosh!
do
And
that.
then the spider
Yeah.
hands
Oh,
on the
you
wrist.
took me through that. That's right. We watched
remember that
It was
one.
like,
Just so you know, Tom House. He's on the board at Titleist Performance Institute. He's Tom Brady's quarterback coach, Drew Brees. He is the expert in rotational movement, and we get a lot of our work from there. And shoulder work is just unbelievable. So the next one is going to be a wrist flexion extension. So it's just going to be up and down. Only about a 30-degree movement here. So not a lot.
Yeah.
Good. Perfect. Okay, so we have now finished. Didn't take too long. And was it painful?
Nope.
Which is good. And so what this is going to do is going to complete the screen. He's a 21 fitness handicap, which is about normal, right?
Okay.
But for somebody obviously he's in great shape, but the setup posture and a few things, the 90-90, the pelvic tilt, the deep squat, we're going to save those results.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to add him as a client. And we're going to put in, how do you want to go by?
Just first name Tim, last name.
And then, is it
R-I-N.
Ringgold? R-I-N-G,
2 G's.
G-O-L-D?
Yep.
Okay, and then an email for me?
Except for that last letter, you're good.
Oh, golf?
Yeah, Ring Golf. And then just Tim Ringgold at Gmail.
Okay.
There, you heard it all there first. Don't worry, if you email me, it'll go to the spam anyway.
All right. Okay, good. So then
Ring Golf, you did it again. It's like you type the word golf often. I can't imagine,
it could be a password. Don't check my. That's funny. They're so close together.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so we're basically going to say, hey, ask the client, like, well, what would you like to do as far as a workout? Can you give me 15, 30 minutes a day? Yep. We'll just do 30.
Heights 5'10", weights 160.
Let's skip through that.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll skip through all that. So here's this thing. So now I've never seen him hit a golf ball, right? I've never seen him hit a golf ball, but I already know these are going to be very highly probable that's going to happen in your golf swing. So it's called your S posture. A loss of posture, meaning that when you swing, you're probably going to have a point where you stand up.
Okay.
Okay. And the next one's called early extension, where your bottom moves towards the ball. Okay. And the next one right here is a flat shoulder plant. So you might have a thing where you kind of lift this up here.
Interesting.
And then a slide, which is going back this way. You might slide back and sway through.
Okay.
Okay. And a casting and scooping. So all these are very likely that could happen. And that could happen in any type of swing that you have. Again, if you're not able to stay in your posture throughout your pickleball swing, you're probably going to early extend, move forward. So all these apply to not being able to be efficient.
Yep.
So I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just going to have to do an extra move to get to where someone that doesn't have to fail these tests or whatever like that are able to do efficiently.
Yeah.
So then what it'll do here, and this is the fun part, is I get a AI printout of all the exercises that are going to target these. So we'll just pick out one We just did the torso turn with the side bend, which blew your mind.
Yep.
We'll do.
Sure did.
Should we do? Pick one here if you would like.
Oh, I don't know.
Let's do
Supine pelvic tilts.
Okay. And cue music.
Sound here in a second.
Arch your back, flatten your back. Now it's important what happens to your belly button during this exercise. It has a lot to do with your respiration. What I like to do is when my back is flattening, my belly button feels like it's going down. When I'm arching, I feel like my belly button is going out. So belly button goes down as I flatten, goes out as I arch. What you don't want to do is you don't want, as you flatten, have your belly button go out, and as you arch, have your belly button go in. That would be the backwards respiration. So it's almost like I breathe out as I flatten, and I breathe in as I arch, back and forth. Nothing's forced, just getting some mobility in that lumbar spine area. And that right there is called supine pelvic tilts.
Brilliant.
Good, try that out.
So Greg Rose, this is the creator of the Titleist Performance Institute program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so nice to have him. And again, it's very simple movements, but with breathing assistance to kind of help you open up the lower lumbar area, which is something you work on.
Yeah.
Something that people might not pay attention to is their breathing pattern.
Oh,
So-
100%.
and a lot of that you can open up upper body mobility by working on breathing on your side. And so again, a lot of this hits exactly to what you need to do to be able to open up some of this mobility.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Cool.
So then I would, based on this, like you said, it's like, how much time do you have?
Right.
I would pick from these, I would put that into my calendar. I would work on those.
Right.
And then I'm going to watch like
You're-
30 days, 60 days, 90 days.
Well, I'll
Like,
tell you what,
do you notice?
I
results?
went through this. I put myself through this in 2013 because I failed a lot. I thought I was a great golfer, but I was good just because I was able to adapt my body to hitting the ball well rather than the opposite, right?
Yes.
So now I put myself through this program. I spent all summer because I was coaching college golf, and I wanted to know how to put my players through this, so I put myself through it.
That's smart.
And able to pass almost all these tests within, I would say, the summertime, 3 months.
Okay.
And this is every day. So I mean, I don't do anything half butt.
It's okay. Half-assed.
Okay, I can say it. So again, like months, it could take some of them instantly you can open up. So it just depends on your level of mobility, fitness, and again, how much you put in is what you get out, right?
Yeah, totally.
So-
Yeah. So that's really neat. Like, I don't surprise anybody with my drive, for example. Like, I can drive reasonably well,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never been someone who anybody's like, there's this great phrase in football, soccer in England. If you're a really threat at what you do, you live rent-free in other people's mind. They have nightmares about you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't live rent-free in anybody else's mind about my drive.
Your drive.
Like, nobody's worried about my drive. They're not worried about my serve. It's fine. But I would like to be able to have that as a weapon to where people are like, oh,
Right.
they hit the return in the wrong place and they're going to pay.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is as I drive, when I overswing and keep overswinging, all of this and this is a constant brush fire afterwards.
Right.
And I would like to be able to have that in my arsenal without having to pay the price with all that pain. So
now this is going to send you these to your email.
nice.
And we'll see how it works.
Yep.
We'll come back maybe in a few months and you're like, hey, wow, as you now are able to get more efficient with your swing, generate more. So my goal is to get every athlete more efficient and powerful.
Yes.
So like, I want the power, but I also want it efficient.
Yes.
And so that's something that for me in the past hadn't been. I had to overdo things.
Right.
And then now your body pays.
And compensate.
And now you're like, oh man, why did I do all that?
Totally.
So
Totally.
that's the goal.
And you're here in Orange County. We are in Fountain Valley. How do people find you?
7 days a week, Athletes First Academy.
Okay.
I have my own Instagram.
Okay.
I have a booking site that goes a QR code directly to me, and so I could drop some of that on you. And,
Cool.
And yeah, I'm here at Lost Cab 7 days a week.
Nice.
So book
Great.
by appointment, call the club, get a hold of me, and come get an assessment.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you do an assessment over Zoom or over FaceTime?
I haven't, I haven't, but I'm sure we can try.
But you could probably visualize
Yeah.
what people are doing.
Absolutely. As long as I can see what they're doing, walk them through the test and record their results.
Yeah.
Sure.
The reason I thought of that is my last vocal coach was in England. And I never thought it was possible. It's just like, oh, I can see on screen
Right.
what I need to see.
Right.
I can give you instruction. She's like, yeah, we're not in person, but trust me, I can hear it and I can see it,
Right.
even on a screen. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And sure enough, like I was stunned. Just like with the thing,
Boom.
I was stunned with how quickly she could visualize what I was doing from here up, because singing is a muscular activity. It's an athletic activity, just very small muscles. And I was like, that's pretty cool, because we met geographically here in Los Angeles. She moved to England. I figured that's that. We're not working together. And she was like, oh no, we can work over the screen. So I would encourage that. Opens it up to more people who can benefit from it.
On.
So, all right.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, Michael, thank you for joining us on Pickleball
Appreciate
Recovery.
It. Yeah, I love it.
Woo!
Appreciate it. Go get it.
Thanks so much for listening. Did you know there's one place on the web for all your recovery needs? It's at www.pickleballrecovery.com. You'll find all the products I personally use and recommend, along with exclusive discounts on many of them, as well as my blog, where I help you make sense out of all the different products and practices out there to keep you moving and feeling better so you play better. After all, your body is the most expensive piece of equipment you own. Also, do you want to know the number one mistake picklers make that leads to increased pain, soreness, stiffness, and injury? Just head over to pickleballrecovery.com and download my free guide to playing with less pain and more enjoyment. Listen, pickleball makes us feel young at heart, but not young in body. So go download my free guide at www.pickleballrecovery.com. See you next time.